You might remember I did a little video on cell phone use, and I showed how people that were at work were constantly on their cell phones. Well, you know, it just doesn't get any better, you know. I'm walking in the mall, and constantly there's people who they're walking. They're not looking ahead. They're not looking where they're going. They're looking down into their phone. I want to punch them in the face. Now, I would like to know, what would people do without cell phones? Do they even remember what it was like to not have a cell phone? Because I do. Now, I might be just an old man who remembers all those years ago when, if you did have a cell phone, it was about that big. You know, it was like a fish. Who had the biggest cell phone? Okay, it was huge. Things came in boxes, or you didn't have one at all, and life was just fine. So people did get by, you know. And nowadays you see people standing in the middle of the mall, in a department store, in a grocery store. They're just standing in the middle doing nothing except looking in their phone and giggling. They can't be alone for more than however long they're away from their loved one, their friend, their whatever. And they'll stand there in the middle of wherever it is, blocking traffic, so that they can be on the cell phone. They'll be on the cell phone in their car. It doesn't matter where they are. Now, my mother told me that in the U.S. Post Office, there are signs, at least in the city where she is, there's signs that say, if you're on the cell phone when you come up to be served, we will not serve you. Which to me is perfectly acceptable. In fact, when you come inside the post office, get off the goddamn phone. You don't need to be on the phone. When you're walking in the mall, don't walk into me and expect me to say I'm sorry because you had your head up your ass or in the cell phone. It just doesn't work that way, okay? Now, recently, you know, I went to Singapore. I was walking around, taking photos, and I just remember one particular incident. I walked down some stairs, I get down to the bottom, and there's a little bus stop, and there's all these people coming and going, and there was an old guy sitting at the bottom with some funny hat on, and I thought, wow, this is a great place to take some photos. So I just stood there, and I watched as people walked by. And then I noticed off to the right, there were 5 women standing in a circle together. They were obviously friends, or they knew each other. They were all standing together, and every single one of them was on the phone. They weren't talking to each other. They're talking to their people on the phone. They're sending their text messages. Every single one of them. It's like, isn't there anything else in life? Do we not talk to people face to face anymore? What was the matter? To me, if I go out somewhere and someone I'm with is on the cell phone and they won't get off, it's like, you know what? I'm out of here, man. You know, it's like, for a few minutes I can understand, oh, excuse me, I need to take this call, it's important. Okay, fine. But, you know, like if we're out to have lunch, we're out to have lunch together. We're not out to have lunch so that you can be on your cell phone, okay? Now, my wife used to have an iPhone 4. She started using it and she said, you know what, this thing's too much of a pain. I just need a phone. I was like, okay, fine, so what are you going to do? You want to buy it from me? I said, yeah, okay, I'll buy it from you. I'll give you the money for it. So I bought the thing from her. I loved it. It's a great tool for entertainment when you're in the back of a taxi and you don't want to talk to a taxi driver. And it's a great tool for business if you're out and you need to look something up or you need to find out where you're going. It is a useful tool. And guess what? There's a phone attached to it. Now, she didn't use the thing. She wanted to get rid of it, so I purchased it. Now she has an iPhone 5. She went ahead and bought one. She's addicted to the thing. I have to yell at her when she's at home. Get off the goddamn phone. Stop playing Farmville or whatever it is. We don't start a movie. We don't start dinner. We don't do anything until that phone is put away. I put it on her. If you're going to be on the phone, then we don't we don't do anything until you're done. So we're waiting on you all the time, okay? What about the policy at work here or anywhere in the world? Is there a policy? There should be a policy. Here's the thing. iPhones are great for taking photos. They have great video capabilities because you're not lugging around a big video camera. There's music, there's games, you know, it's entertaining, and there's a phone. Oh, and if you're in the back of a taxi and you want to watch a little porn, you can do that too, whatever you want to use it for. But when you're walking along somewhere in public, take your nose out of your ass, which is their cell phone, and look up for a second. When you're standing around with a group of people who are your friends that you're out with, get off the phone for a minute. Sometimes I just want to take a hammer and smash the goddamn thing. That's what I think about phones. That's all I got to say. Until next time, I'm Scott, American in Bangkok. Choke me, that jerk in my.